Everything I do is my passion, but on top of all of them is writing. Writing is my #1 passion. Like, I live for writing. Singing, I just came into singing. I wasn't always a singer. It just so happened my pastor needed a praise and worship leader, and that's how I became a singer. I was always in the choir, but I was never a soloist, per se. And as far as teaching, I've been doing, that's my passion as well. My god sister had a family group daycare, and that's how I started working with kids, and that's when I realized I love kids. I was like 13 years old, and she said, Jamila, you want to work with me for the summer? I'm opening up this daycare, and I needed a job. I mean, I was 13, but I still wanted my own money, and I said yes, and then I started out there. That's how I realized I love kids and I love teaching, because I started at a daycare. But my first teaching gig was actually about a year ago. I was always in a daycare setting. I started out as a worker, an intern, then an assistant. But my first teaching gig was actually last year in Brooklyn, New York. I started working at New Generation Academy, and I've had a class of about 14 kids. It was very challenging because I was actually writing out lesson plans every day as opposed to assisting someone. It was actually my classroom. I had to come up with material. I had to put the lesson plans together. I had to make sure it was fit for each child, because you have different learners in the classroom. So it was very challenging. And then I had a lot of kids at that. I had a lot of youth in my class, a lot of toddlers, and that made it the job more challenging. The perks and rewards of being a teacher is the simple fact that you teach these kids how to behave, you teach them how to act, you teach them what they need, the knowledge that they need to become successful and to become well-rounded toddlers, well-rounded in a sense that they're able to communicate with their peers, they're able to communicate with their teachers, they're able to communicate with the adults. The perks of that is you see growth because you taught them. Like, if you're teaching and there's no growth, then it's not rewarding. So the perk, I would say, is the growth that you see in the toddlers or the youth that you're teaching. It was a great feeling because when I was younger, my mother, she taught me how to live by goals, by setting goals. And she said, the one thing she said to me was, at each age in your life, like 18, 16, 18, 21, 25, you should set a big goal that you want to accomplish by that year. And when I was growing up, I set 25 as the year that I wanted to have my master's. So the fact that I was able to achieve this goal was very fulfilling for me. I realized I could sing when people started telling me I could sing, maybe like 2 years ago. Like I said, I was always on the choir. I started out in the choir from the age of like 13 on the youth choir at church. Grew up in church, so I had no choice but to be in the choir. Then I moved on to the adult choir, but it wasn't until about when this church started, the church that I go to now started, about 2003, I say 2004, I started singing praise and worship, and then that's my voice started to develop as a solo singer. Say, I won't give up, I won't give up on God, 'cause He won't give up on me. I think this is my thing is, I think that my voice actually has come from God. I believe that when I sing for Him is when I sing the best. If I'm singing an R&B song out in the streets, I won't sound as good as I do in church. So I believe that it has come from God. It's a gift that He allows me to have to fulfill His glory. About 2008, I started writing songs. College, I just graduated college with my bachelor's, and I took a few fiction writing classes, and then I said, let me see how I can relate these thoughts of mine, not from poems, not in poem sense, but to song, elevated to song. It was just kind of like a challenge for me, like, let me see if I can write songs. So, I write poetry, yes. I am working on a novel. I've stopped for a long time. I only have 2 chapters, but I started on the novel back in undergrad years. As part of my fiction writing courses, I took a couple of them and I started on a novel. And I left it alone just to focus more on school because it takes up a lot of time. But I always said I'll go back, and my goal is to have it out there in about 5 years from now. Well, church is a great foundation for me. It's where I gain knowledge about God. And God is the source and the reason why I do a lot of the things that I do. He has provided me with the strength that I need to go through school, to be able to get my master's, to be able to write. He's just provided me with everything in my life. So without church, I won't know that much about God. I won't be able to work for Him. I won't be able to praise Him, to worship Him. So church is like a great foundation.